Okay, YouTubers, this is Joe from ArtAlienTV, another game of Interplanetary I Spy going on here. And we're back on Mars, but we're not in Gale Crater or Endeavour Crater, we are somewhere completely different. And we have what looks like here, a dome in a crater. Now, this is a really cool image, and was brought to my attention by somebody on Facebook just yesterday. We have a crater here with a ball-shaped dome structure in the center of it, which is very interesting indeed. Now, before I go any further, I'm going to credit the person who found this, because obviously this may turn out to be a really important find, and it's the right person has to be credited for the find. And this is the guy who found it, William Benton. He was looking on Google Mars / Earth, and the Mawrth Vallis region, which is Mawrth actually means Mars in Welsh, if you didn't know. So it's the Mars Valley, right? Okay, and this is sort of in the centre of Mars, and there's a large area which has a sort of floodplain. It's about 400 miles long and about 9 miles wide, according to the stuff here. I've got loads of links up here, so you can check it out. This isn't the precise area, but this is a nice image anyway. Mawrth Vallis strata. Okay, I'll put a link to that. We got this one of Mawrth Vallis as well. There's lots of these actually. It's a highly photographed area of interest, mainly because it was a possible landing site for the Mars Rover, the Curiosity rover, and it may well turn out to be a landing site for the next ExoMars rover, which would be around 2020, or the 2020 rover, or one after that perhaps, we don't know, but it is in the sort of top 3 areas of interest on Mars for landing a mission to study the deposits of various minerals on the ground, because there was lots of, we could actually see the area here where the water would have flown through, and it's like a big kind of flood area, valley I suppose, and I've got lots of links to it here. There's a Wikipedia page here, Mawrth Vallis here. This will give you more information, and it does go into some interesting details about the area. Now, unfortunately, the area in question obviously has been photographed by the high-rise camera on the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, but trying to find this exact spot here could take months, they may not have actually published any photos of this particular spot. So I will try and find some higher resolution images of this spot here, but I'm not going to promise anything, because these things can take forever, because there are many thousands of images of this area, okay, because it was a possible landing site. So there we have it. I'll put all these links below. I'll try not to keep this too long, because some of my videos have been getting a bit long recently, but there's loads of interesting info here about the area and why it was considered as an area of interest to survey with a Mars rover. Yeah, prior to the selection of Gale Crater, the Mars Science Laboratory Curiosity rover mission, Mawrth Vallis was considered as a potential landing site because of the detection of a stratigraphic section rich in clay minerals. Clay minerals have implications for the past aqueous environments, as well as the potential to preserve biosignatures. So that is the key word there. Life. You know, biosignatures are basically indications of previous life. So yes, there we go. So without further ado, let me show you the images I've got here, and obviously full credit to William Benton here. In fact, I think what would really be cool, because this crater doesn't have a name, what would really be cool is if we could get the authorities, which I have here on these things, because Gazetteer of Planetary Nomenclature, or nomenclature, however you say that. Now, you can actually apply, if you find something interesting on Mars, an interesting geological feature, for instance, you can actually send in an application for your find to be named after yourself. Like, now obviously this would be called Benton Crater, which I think is a great name for a crater. why not? You know, so that may be worth pursuing. I'll put a link to this down below as well. I've also got, this is the page here. I only just stumbled on this today, which is pretty cool. And you can kind of look up these things here. You can just look up craters or labyrinths or whatever type of feature, geological feature. And I think there is a way you can actually send in an application to name certain parts of Mars, like you can with the Moon also. Okay, and obviously other planets as well. So I'll put all these links below in the description, and now I'll show you the image. So great find by William Benton. It would be great if we could get this named after him. I really do think that would be great if we could do that. So if any of you are interested in that, let me know. But this was on Martian Genesis on Facebook. And there's some interesting comments here. Sorry, I just clicked on that. Shouldn't have done that. Interesting comments from Martine and a few other people here. We've also found interesting things on Google Mars. So here we go. I'll show you the zoom further back here. I'll call it just the crater dome for now. And we have these dark deposits here of dark dunes, probably volcanic. And this crater here. This is 50 feet across, this ball or dome. And if you look carefully, it has something coming out of it here. And there's some interesting kind of structures around it. Now, I'm not saying all of this is artificial. I'm not saying all of this is natural. Couldn't tell you, but it's very interesting and may well turn out to be an artificial ball or dome. Some kind of listening device like we have at GCHQ in the UK. They use these big domes to listen in on radio transmissions and such like. Who knows? But let me show you some enhancements, because obviously if you enhance it, you can actually see the detail better. All I've done here is increase the contrast and added a blue filter. And you can see it's not it is perfectly round, this part, but it has a straight structure coming off it here and something coming out of it, which may be partially an optical illusion because of the sort of downgraded quality of the image. Don't know, but there are some interesting features around this crater. Up here we have some strange angular parts up here which may be natural but may not be, and we have some interesting square and rectangular parts below it here that seem to be going into the crater and perhaps joining up with this thing here. I don't know. Very interesting, really interesting find, this one. Let's have a look at it on Google Earth. Now, to go on Google Mars, of course, all you do is you click on the planet thing up here and select Mars. Okay, and I've got it already marked. I've just called it Crater Dome. I followed his coordinates, William Benton's coordinates, and there we have it. Let me zoom out a bit just to give you some context. This is a large area, and in fact is a really good area to search, because this area was recently updated in recent years, because obviously it was a potential MSL landing site. And in fact all these annotations here, they've got little pictures and interesting features you can look at, were all proposals by the Mars Science Laboratory team for that particular mission. So there's loads of stuff here, and there's some quite not the highest resolution images of the area, but obviously there are restrictions on the amount of information they can put in photographs to go on Google Mars, because obviously the thing wouldn't load up if there was too much information in the image. So they have to downgrade the images to sort of JPEG resolution, and you do lose detail and you do lose definition when that happens. So unfortunately it's not brilliant, but this area is actually one of the better areas to look at on Mars, and is quite detailed. It looks pretty cool, and unfortunately it's only in black and white, but you can see good shapes and contours here, and you can see this rather strange crater and details around it, even without enhancing it, you can see that there's something interesting there. So, a really cool one, this. I will put some clips in at the end of the video for you of some enhancements here. Let me show you another enhancement. I've done it in a different filter. And you can see something here, a detail here, and something here, and here. This is rather strange. Could it be an intelligent structure, or is it just a natural feature? There have been many potential domes found on Mars and stuff like this, but a lot of them have just turned out to be sand dunes, like this one here. You look at the lower res images of it and it looks like a dome, but when you see the high res image of it, it turns out to be a sand dune in a sort of semicircular shape. So these things often do turn out to be optical illusions, but this one may not be. And if we could find a higher resolution picture of this area from the high-rise camera on the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, then it would prove it either way, hopefully, because we'll be able to see more detail and determine whether that is just a pile of sand, like this one kind of looks here, or is it actually an intelligent dome structure. It looks like the image has been downgraded from quite a high-res image because you've got this kind of choppy fuzziness to it, which means you've lost definition. But there is enough information in this image to determine there is a dome or ball shape here. The question is it natural or is it artificial? Okay, just before we go, I thought I'd better tell you where to look on Google Mars if you want to find this for yourself. You can find the Mawrth Vallis region here and Oyama Crater, and the crater dome is just between the two to the north here, where you've got this kind of black and white square, which is the area that was looked at for the Mars Science Laboratory possible landing site. Okay, so you've got Oyama, Mawrth Vallis, and there's this layered bedrock near Oyama Crater, this feature here, just north of that. It's about 12 miles north of there. You zoom in and you've got this black and white area with strips of information that have been overlaid and stitched together. And the dome, the crater dome, is just down here. It's not enormous. Let me just show you how big that is. Okay, it's actually, we don't want that in miles, we want that in feet. Let's have it in feet. It's about 50 feet across. If I did that more carefully, then it would be 50 feet. Let's do that again. Okay, 50 feet, let's have it in feet. Yeah, let's go from there to there this time. Yeah, it's just under 50 feet, depending on where you measure it from, because obviously there's a shadow here around the back of it. And you know, you could measure it from there, from that part to there, making it 50. So yeah, 50 feet across. There we have it. So that's where you need to look. Let me zoom out just to give you a reference for that. Zoom right out, and there we have it. Here's Oyama here, and this one, this feature here, which is the bedrock near Oyama, and you go north, and we have it here. Okay, but there will be coordinates that you can look at in the description if you want to find it, and then you can sort of zoom in on it yourself. So there we have it, a really interesting find by William Benton. Wouldn't it be great if we could call this Benton's Crater? Benton's, or just Benton Crater. That would be great. So thank you for watching, everybody. Sorry about the slightly convoluted format there, but I was interrupted during that recording, so I had to cut the recording and then start again, and I forgot to give you the actual location and where to find it. So thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.